Again, I am Nihal Matez. I used to be an English teacher and I was working as HR. And I hope that you will get the benefit that you want from this lecture. Today, we are going to have clues about the interview skills that everyone should have in order to succeed in the interview. But in the coming course that we are going to take, it's going to be wider. We are going to know much things about that in details. But today, because of time, we are going to start directly in our lecture. And I will tell you the challenges that can face everyone in the interviews. When you have an interview, definitely, you will be nervous, the first thing. So I think it's perfectly fine to be nervous when you have an interview, especially when your future career depends on this interview. Am I right? But too much nerves may not be okay. You have to control your nerves. But the question is, how can I control my nerves? How can I be calm and be cool and to overcome the interview as I want? First of all, you have to remind yourself that you are the perfect one for this interview. You have to take deep breath and tell yourself that I'm an ideal person for this job, that I'm going to be chosen whatever happens. Remind yourself that you are needed in this company as you need them. So every organization or every company, when it announces for any job, it has standards and qualifications in the person that they want. So you presented your CV, right? So in the CV, they know already what are your qualifications, what are your experiences. So for that, they called you. Am I right? So why you should be afraid? Why you should be nervous? They need you and they think that you are the perfect one for this position. You have to go and to market yourself very well. I consider that CV is a way of marketing. You market yourself through a CV. But when you face someone, you have to market yourself by being confident, by being not nervous, by being fluent, and by being calm. Okay, so this is the first thing, that nervousness. The second challenge that you may face in the interview, difficult questions. So everyone can ask himself why interviewer makes difficult questions. Why should I be asked tricky questions? To be honest, the interviewer makes the difficult questions in order to test your skills and your availability or your fluency. How can you react to the difficult questions? Are you going to take time before you understand the question? Are you going to react quickly? So if you are asked any difficult questions, so the first thing that you have to do is to take time gathering your thoughts before you speak. It's not important to answer quickly as the interviewer ends from the question. No, you have to take time to understand the question. If you do not understand the question, it's okay to ask for clarification in a good manner. May you please repeat the question? Sorry, I didn't understand the question. May you rephrase it? Do you mean this? Okay? So when you ask these questions, the interviewer will know that you care about answering the question in a proper way. Okay, if you have the clarification of the difficult question and yet you cannot answer this question, so what do you have to do? What do you think you have to do? What do you think, Sophia? What do we have to do? If I didn't know how to answer the question, should I should I answer the question by any mean, or I should say that, sorry, I don't know to answer this question?
I think if we need first to understand the question fully, so
Okay,
we ask them to rephrase it or mention it again. And
okay,
if I didn't get it even after paraphrasing the same question, I
okay.
will say I don't have an experience with that part, but I'm willing
Okay.
to know more about it. I think I think this might be my answer.
Yes, this is perfect. This is definitely perfect, Sophia. So it's better to say that I don't know, or I don't have experience in this part, or I'm willing to know, instead of answering the question in a way that makes the interviewer think that you answer with no even background about the question. It's not a good impression at all. It's not a good impression to answer a question that you don't understand or you don't know about it. Say, sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know, and I'm willing to know about it later. And that's okay. That's very fine. Okay, agreed. Um, okay, so now we covered the difficult question. So if you are asked a long question with many parts, try to divide the question, like to answer it separately, to make sure that you covered all the aspects of the question. Okay, this is about difficult questions. The third one of the challenges that you face in the interview is gaps of employment or gaps in employment. Every one of us had gap in employment for many reasons, for studies, maybe for mental health. Maybe you felt like you wanted to take rest from working or from jobs, and it's okay, and it's totally right. So when you are talking about yourself and you are talking about your previous experiences, first of all, be honest. Be honest about everything you mentioned. Be sure that uh, you said the right dates with the right companies. Okay, so um, if you took time for your mental health or for your studies or for any reason, you have to mention this. Do not ignore it at all. Say that I have experience in this and this and this, but I took a gap for 2 years because I needed to study something or I needed to take rest or whatever. Mention the reason, but focus on your achievements. I took gaps for 2 years, but at that time, I had my master's degree in this, or at that time of gap, I made many trainings. Okay, at that time of gap, I took my rest, so I recovered my mind and I was able to work very well after that gap. Okay, so me as an interviewer, I wanted or I want to listen to the reasons of your gaps on the CV. Okay, the most important thing that um, if your previous position was terminated. What do I mean by previous position was terminated? I mean that if your previous position was terminated by the employer himself, like they said to you that they fire you, okay? If they fired you or it was terminated by them for any reason, you have to mention this because in your CV, you have references and they will ask about you and about your work and about what you have done with the company, and the interview will be told that the position was terminated. But if you mention this before they ask, it will be better. Why? Because you will be able to clarify why the position is terminated. Okay, but the most important thing, do not talk in a bad way with your about your previous company. Like if if your position was terminated or some conflict happened between you and the company, you can say that there was a misunderstanding between me and the company. So they didn't get me well, and it was terminated. But don't say that my previous manager was so bad and he did that to me. And you don't have to tell the issue in the interview. They don't need to listen to the issue, but they need to know that the position was terminated for some reasons, and you are okay with that, and you don't have any problem with the company, and it's fine. So why you don't have to tell that? Because they will think that if you talk in a bad way about your previous manager, you will talk in a bad way about them if anything happen, and this is a reputation of a company, and it's not good at all. Am I correct? Okay. The last thing that I have to say about the gaps in employment: concentrate on your desire to learn new skills. Okay? Like, maybe I don't have enough experience about this, but I'm willing to know. I have a desire to know that. And I'm so enthusiastic about this job. I want to have this job badly, and you will find me the perfect one for this job, in spite of my gaps or lack of some of experience. Okay? So this is about gaps in employment. The last challenge that we are going to talk about today is discussing salary. I think every one of us think that discussing salary is a big challenge, a very big challenge. Okay, what do we have to do when we need to discuss the salary? First of all, you as an interviewee, you should avoid talking about your salary expectations unless you are asked. If they didn't ask you, do not mention it. Never. Do not mention it at all. Okay? When you are asked, if you need to talk, you need to talk about a range. So before the interview, you have to do your research. You have to do your research. You have to consider the experience and to consider the qualifications. Any job in this world, it has a range of salaries. If you have one experience, the salary will be this, and if you have 2 years, it will be more. If 3, so you have to consider all these factors. Okay. So if you are asked, tell them about a range, and do not be specific. Do not mention the salary unless you are asked. Okay. Anyone has any question about interview challenges or discussing salary? Okay, let's go to the effective communication. So, to be honest, communication skills, it's like a big sea or a big ocean. We will talk about effective communication skills in detail in our lectures or our upcoming course. But all I have to tell you is that effective communication skills is the most important factor that every interviewer or every employer searches in a candidate. Sometimes, me as HR, I face candidates or interviewee with less experience than others, but they have been chosen according to the effective communication skills. If you are a good communicator, that means you are a problem solver. That means you will be a good face for our company. You will know how to deal with the customers of the company. So every employer thinks that the customer is the most important asset of the company. If you are an effective communication skills, that means you know how to deal with your team. You know how to build a team. You know how to be a good leader. So it's a very desirable trait in any interview. So when you are a communicative person, that means your voice is clear, you know how to use your eyes, you know how to use your hands, the body language, how you sit, when to smile, when to look, when you know how to use your body, you know how to use your voice, you have emotional intelligence, and as I told you, it's a big ocean. We are going to talk about it in our coming course, if Allah wills. Okay? So let's go further to the two tips for interview success. Okay, what if you want to have a successful interview? You already applied for the job, the employer already reviewed your CV, and you are called for interview. What should you do? So we divided that into three. The preparation before the interview, what do you have to do during the interview, and what do you have to do after the interview in order to be well prepared, very well prepared. Okay, so first of all, when you are called that, hello, Mr. Muhammad, you are you are invited to an interview, and we would like to meet you on this date. So what do you have to do first thing? So you have to do your research. When I see research, what do you have to do? You have, first of all, to go back to the announcement of the job that you applied for. In this announcement, they talk about the job description, they talk about the missions that you have to do, okay? And they talked about the goals of this job. So you have to read them carefully and to consider every point in the job announcement that you applied for. And you have to show them that you have these skills that they need in the interview. Okay? This is not enough. You have to make a research about the company. Do not think that you know everything about the company. So we have many companies, well-known companies. If you are invited to an interview for these companies, so the first thing that you have to do is to search about them, even if you know them well. Okay, what are their missions? What are their visions? What are their goals? What the company branches? Anything that you think that you need to know, you have to know it. Okay, so you have to know the location of the company. So when I say do your research, I mean everything that comes to your mind, you have to do your research in it. Okay? The second thing that you have to do is to review your application and resume. Okay, so you have to recheck. What did you write about yourself? Okay, why do you need to check your resume? So this is a good question you can ask. Why do I need it? This is my resume and I know everything is written. I want to tell you that for every position that you apply for, you need to make a different resume. For example, if you need to apply for customer service, you need to make resume for customer service. If you are applying for administrative officer, you have to apply with a different resume. Why? Because in the resume, you should focus on the qualifications that are needed in the job that you are applying for. Okay, is that clear? So you have to check your application. You have to check your resume. You have to know, again, the qualification that they are needed, because you need to talk about them during the interview. Okay, the third thing is practicing interview. You do not have an interviewer in your home to practice interview. You can use YouTube. You can use the mirror. This is my favorite way, to sit in front of the mirror, to imagine that someone is talking to you and how you can respond, the expected questions that you will be asked, how you can reply them, how you can use your body language. Believe me, it will benefit you. It will benefit you a lot. Okay, so you need to practice interviewing at home before going. The fourth thing is to be flexible with scheduling. So how can I be flexible with the scheduling? So, for example, sometimes events may change. Okay, so sometimes they tell you that you are invited to an interview tomorrow. It will be at 10 a.m. So you said that, yes, I'm okay with that. I will be there on time. So they called you at 8 a.m. telling you that, sorry, your interview will be delayed at 1 p.m. Are you okay with that? If you do not have anything, be flexible. Don't get angry. Don't be mad. Don't say that, sorry, you said 10, I will come at 10. It's not my problem. You don't have to show them that you are a negative person from the beginning, and you are not an easygoing person. You are not a problem solver. Okay, you do not accept anything, because definitely the work is hard, and they need someone who is flexible. Flexibility is needed all the time. So you have to be flexible with scheduling. Okay, do not get mad, do not get angry, do not make many excuses like, sorry, I have something else. In that time, you do not have something is more important than having your dream job or having an interview. Okay, so try as much as you can to be flexible with scheduling. Okay, okay. The last thing that you have to prepare before the interview is to ask whether will be one or multiple interviewers. Believe me, it's totally right to ask this question. When someone calls you, you are invited to an interview, you can ask him, if this makes you nervous, you can ask, sorry, I need to know who is the interviewer. Is it going to be the head of the HR and the general manager and the head department, or the general manager only, or you can ask. Why? Because maybe 6 people will make the interview for you, and you think that you are going to meet 3. Then you entered the room of the interview, and suddenly you find 6. So what are you going to do? You will be nervous. You will not answer the questions in a proper way. You will lose your chance to have the job. So it's all right to ask how many people are going to make the interview. Okay, now we are done about preparation. Let's see what are you going to do during the interview. So the third thing is plan to arrive early. Don't be too early and don't be late, of course. When I say too early, I mean that coming before 1 hour of the interview. You can come before 15 minutes. It will be a good time to take your breath, to drink water, to be familiar with the environment. I think it's good to come before 15 minutes. If you come before 20 minutes, it's okay. but do not come too early. And do not arrive before 5 minutes of the interview. If you arrive before 5 minutes of the interview, you will not be familiar, you will be nervous, you will not be comfortable with everything. So you have to arrive before proper time. Okay, this is the first thing. The second thing is be prepared to summarize your experience in about 30 minutes, 30 seconds, sorry. When they say talk about yourself, they want you to speak briefly about yourself at the first, because be sure that you will be asked about everything you wrote on the CV and about every experience that you had before. Definitely, you will be asked about all these things. So when they say talk about yourself briefly, mention they know your name, okay? Mention what did you study? Mention the major experience that you have, or the experience that is needed for this job. Like I am with, don't say that I was working with X company from 2008 to up to 2010, and then I moved to this company and I worked. No, don't mention details. Say that I have 8 experience in customer service in different companies. Okay, this is when you are asked about talk briefly about yourself. If they ask you about your previous experiences as a separate question, now you can mention the details. So don't be in hurry because you will be asked. Try to summarize as much as you can. Okay? And if you are a good communicator and you have effective communication skills, you will know what I mean by saying you have to know where and when you should talk, and you have to know where and when you should speak. You should be summarized. Okay? The third thing is listen carefully to each question asked. When I say listen carefully, what do I mean? I mean, first of all, do not interrupt the question. So as I told you previously, the interviewer may ask long questions from many parts. Make sure that the interviewer completed the whole question. So when the interviewer completes a question, he will say to you, you may answer now. So do not interrupt. Listen. And the second thing, by listening carefully, I mean make eye contact. When the interviewer is asking, make eye contact. Look at the interviewer, be calm, have a smile on your face, look at him, and try to make some gesture like by your head, like, okay, I'm understanding you. Not too many, not make this all the time, but from time to time, you have to tell the interviewer that I'm listening. I'm careful about what you are saying. Okay, so this is about listening carefully for the interview. I have to tell you that you have to remain positive all the time in the interview. Be smiling and be positive. It's okay to take notes. It's totally okay to take notes. Like if the interviewer, for example, said that I need you to send me your certification on Sunday. It's okay to write Sunday, write it down, to take the note that you need. There is nothing in that. You can write it. You can tell the interviewer that I need to take note about that and to take note. It's okay. It's not any. It doesn't make any problem. So the number 4, be aware for your body language. Okay, I told already about body language many times. It's very important. For example, how you sit, how you use your hands. So be aware of every move that you make. And if there are more than one interviewer and they speak together at the same time in order to distract you, you have to look to the person who started to ask. The first one who started to ask, you have to look at him, okay? In order to make sure that you are not distracted at all. So you have to be aware of your body language. The last thing that I'm going to tell you about how to prepare yourself during the interview, reinforce your interest in the position. After they finish their questions, tell them that I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm looking forward to work with such a company. You are a good reputed company, and I'm willing to work with it. You can tell them that I'm willing to learn new skills. I want to have this job. You will find me the right person for this job. Okay? And you have to ask them that when should I expect to be contacted? So they may say during a week, we will tell you our final result, or during 2 days, or or for example after 3 days. So you have to ask. It's okay to ask. So every interviewer, after finishes the interview, asks the interviewee if the interviewee have any question. So feel free to ask the question that you need and reinforce your interest in the position. Okay? Okay. What should I do after the interviewer finishes the interview and after I go home? The first thing is provide any additional requested information as soon as possible. As I told you, if the interviewer or the employer tells you that I need you to send me your certifications, for example, on Sunday, try to send them on Sunday as soon as possible. Do not delay it. Okay? The last thing is be patient. Remember, the hiring process takes time. So when I say be patient, what do I mean? So you already asked, when should I expect the result of my interview? So they told you during a week. You do not have to ask them during this week. You do not have to send emails like, what happened? Am I accepted? I'm waiting for the result. No, you do not have to do that before the week. But after the week, you have to ask. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You said that you are going to reply after it during a week, and now the week ended. I need to know. You can ask in a very polite and proper way about the result of the interview, if you are hired or not. So be patient during the period. Do not ask. Remember that it takes time, and it's okay. But after the period of time, you have to feel free to ask. Okay? So do you have any questions? If you have any questions about the coming course, about what we have mentioned, you can ask me directly. You can speak. Open the voice and speak. Okay, so in the beginning of the lecture, we had some technical issues, so I didn't speak well about the upcoming course. I think I can tell you more about it now. So the upcoming course, we are I'm going to mention the benefits of the course. So you will build confidence in English language interviews, especially in English language, how you can be fluent in English during the interview, and what should you do in order to speak fluently and to speak in a comfortable way during the interview. You can develop the effective communication skills for job interviews. As I told you, every interviewer needs a communicative person. So I will tell you how to be communicative and what you are needed to do. Okay, I have a question. If my English, sorry, Noris, ask the question again.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, I mean, if my English language is not very good, for example, if my level is B, and the company want or the HR need, for example, more English language, or need someone in level C, for example, or something like
Higher
that.
level. Yeah.
Yes. How can I practice about that in a short time or a short period? Also, when I forget many time, or I easily forget for that.
Yeah, I get you, Norris. Thanks for your question. Okay, I will answer, Norris. Guys, we know that if we need to speak English very well, we have to make very good input. You need to develop your English in a specific period of time. Okay, so I want to tell you that if you applied for any job, do not start practicing English when you are called for the interview. Start practicing it when you apply. The period will be longer in order to develop this. As I told you, I'm going to talk about this in details in the coming course, step by step, how you can speak fluently during the interview. But what I can say to you now, Norris, listen, make practice in the mirror and make many practice and try to train yourself about the things that you are going to talk about in the interview. You know that you are going to talk about yourself, prepare that. You know that you are going to talk about your experience, prepare for that. You know that you are going to talk about, for example, your qualifications, prepare for that. So be prepared. Thanks, Wisal. Wisal said that. I totally agree with you. So we all agree that practice makes perfect, right? Okay, do we have any other question? So I'm going to tell you
yes.
that, yes, Mr. Rayah, you can speak.
Good evening, and thank you for your presentation. I asked in interview, HR always ask about what your weakness and your strength. This I think this is difficult question to answer. You can,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. You can.
Thank you. Thanks, Arayah, for your question. So Arayah said that in the interview, they can ask you what are your weaknesses and what are your strength points. So what do I have to say? The first thing that I'm going to do to say, do not focus on your weaknesses. As much as you can, speak about your strength point, as much as you can. So try to talk too much about your strength point, but not your weaknesses point. And do not say that I do not have weaknesses point, because no one is perfect, right? But if you want to mention any weakness point, do not mention weakness point that affect their decision in accepting you. I do not say that you have to lie, but you have to say that even if everybody has weaknesses point, but we are working about that, and it will never affect my position in your company. So do not be straightforward for answering this question. Okay, and also in the course, I'm going to talk about that in details. Okay, who has a question? And by the way, in the course also, we are going to make practice. Like we are going to make interviews one by one. As for me, I can't speak about this topic, even in Arabic. Wisal, you will make practice, believe me. Wisal said that she cannot talk about this topic even in Arabic. Okay, so as I told you, we are going to make mock interviews in the course. Like one by one, everyone in the course is going to be interviewed as a real one. And I will be a real HR in order to get prepared. And the feedback, of course, you will receive the feedback. The feedback will be received. Who else? Thanks, Wisal. Yes, Hajar, you may speak.
Hello.
Okay, after Hajar, Kauthar, you can speak. Hello, Hajar.
I have a question about she said that I have to make a different resume for different jobs.
Yeah.
Then in the interview, when they asked me or told me introduce yourself, should I mention my other experiences in other aspects?
Yeah, you have to mention them, but not in details. If it's not needed, do not mention it on details. So they will think that you were having a gap. Okay, so say that I have another experience in, for example, in administration, auditing, for example, but I focused in customer service and I have more experience in this and try to speak about it. Okay? So you have to mention it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Who's else? Kauthar? You are free to speak. Speak directly.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, I'm hearing you, Kauthar. Tell me.
Yes, I think my question was so close to Hajar's question. It's about if I do have an experience and I do not have the clue of the certification. How could I declare this during the interview?
Okay, what do you mean by you do not have a certification? You mean experience certification, or you mean, what do you mean?
Yes, it does. If I studied my field, now my field is administration. I studied administration, but I do not get the certification yet. So if I want to apply into a job, how could I declare this if there is an interview for people without having the certification?
Okay, Kauthar, you will not be asked about certification in the interview. It will be post-interview. If you are accepted, they will ask you about your documents. Okay, they will not ask you about your documents before that. So if you are asking, should you apply or not, you should apply definitely, because it varies from company to company. Some companies do not focus on if you have the certificate or not. If they think that you are a perfect person for this position, they will hire you and they will tell you, no worries, please bring the sorry, Wisal is saying something. Please bring the certificate later. Okay, some companies do not accept that. Some companies say that no, we need the certification right now. So if you want me to advise you, apply for the job, even if you do not have the certification. You may convince them in the interview, right? And you can make references like a doctor in your university if they want to be sure. References work well in that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Huh? Who else have questions?
Thank you so much, Ms. Nihal. This was very informative, detailed. I think you checked up on each and every like important matter when it comes to interviews. Thank you so much. The only question that might arise is that when are you going to start this course? And if you may tell us about the duration of the course, as well as if there is like a coupon or a discount for like the upcoming course.
Okay, Sophia. The upcoming course is going to be the next Sunday, if Allah wills. It will be 3 times a week, 6 lectures. So it's 15 days. Okay, so every lecture, it takes from 1 hour and a half to 2 hours. There is 10% coupon, start 10, okay? 10% coupon for the people who wants to register for this course. The course is with $50 for the people who are outside Sudan. For the people who are in UAE or KSA or any place outside Sudan, it what equals $50 for the whole course. But the people who are in Sudan, they have another pricing. I needed to be sure about it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nihal.
Thank you, Safi. Okay, everyone. Thank you for having this lecture and for attending this lecture. And I hope to meet you very soon. I really enjoyed being with you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.